YouTube, I'm APC here with another game making tutorial. In today's tutorial, we're going to be talking about how to make slot machines, or fruit machines as they're called in Britain. This tutorial was requested by Kellam001. This was a comment on my request video where I can ask guys to make requests. And this tutorial, I went and made it, and it was a lot of fun to make. I actually used a new function I haven't used before, draw sprite part, so we get to use a new function. And that's about it. So I hope you guys find the tutorial helpful. Let's get started. Alright, let's get started with the tutorial. So to start off, let's go ahead and create a sprite. All I need to do is align all of the different individual slots that you want in your slot machine. And in this case I have 3, Sonic, Mario, and Mega Man. And I just have them spaced out evenly and among my height of 144. So you can make as many as you want. The code I'm about to show you will work with as many as you want, regardless of the sprite height or how many you have in there or whatever. So just create the sprite and go ahead and do that. So now let's go ahead and create an object for our first slot. This is going to contain all the code for all the slots, or I'm sorry, this contains most of the code for all the slots because the other slots are going to have this as their parent. So this is where pretty much all the code is going to happen. Alright, so let's head on over to the creation event and drag on the code over there. Alright, in the creation event we have a few variables we need to set up. The way I'm going to make this slot animation is I'm basically going to move that entire sprite downwards. It's not going to be, I'm not actually going to change the Y value, but I'm going to make a fake Y value and call it Y1 and make it set equal to 0, which is where it's going to be at the start. And create another variable called run speed, and set equal to 0. Run speed is going to decide, it's going to basically randomize which frame it lands on, because the run speed will I'm going to randomize it later, and it's going to represent how fast it's going through the different frames. That's actually going to randomize which one it lands on. Alright, next, moving on. Running equals false. If it's running, that's when it's spinning through the frames, and when it's false, that's when it's not spinning through the frames. Simple enough. That's necessary for our code later. And then img equals 3. Like I said earlier, this code will work for any amount of images, but you need to create this img variable to say how many frames or images or slots you have in your sprite. So I have 3, Sonic, Mario, and Mega Man. So I put down 3 here. If you have more, put down a bigger number. If you have less, put down a small number. Alright, moving on. The slot machine is going to be triggered by the space bar. So I'm going to go into the key press space event. Alright, and in the code here, we're going to do a few things. I'm going to set alarm 0 equal to 15. Alarm 0 will stop the slot once it's finished running through them. So this one's going to go for 15 steps, which is about half a second, and then that's how long it'll take for it to stop. And next we're going to set running equal to true, because now it's running through the frame, so we want running equal to true. And then we're going to set run speed, which, like I said earlier, will randomize which frame it lands on, and it's equal to 7 plus random 5. This number is what works for me. It will be at a minimum of 7, and we'll add a random number between 0 and 5, so end up somewhere between 7 and 12. So you can make it whatever you want. If you want it to be less than that, if you want to run slower, then you go ahead and do that. If you want to run faster, go ahead and change that. Alright? Now in the step event, we're going to want to put the code for what we want to happen while it's running. So if running equals true, because we only want this section of code to happen while it's running. Then we want y1 plus equal run speed. So run speed is a randomized variable, and y1 is the false y position thing that is going to move the sprite through the animation. And next, we want to make sure that the y1 doesn't exceed the sprite height, because if it exceeds the sprite height, it'll keep moving downwards below the slot, and we'll never see it again. So we are going to type down y1 equals y1 mod sprite height. I've explained mod in a number of my videos, but I should probably make a video explain it as a whole, so maybe look out for that. What it is it will divide y1 by sprite height, take whatever's left over. So if y1 is still below sprite height, the what will be left over just y1, so it won't change it if it's below sprite height. But once it goes above sprite height, it'll divide y1 by sprite height, and it'll give you whatever's above it. So this way, it will never go above sprite height. I hope that makes sense. Alright, so now with this code, it'll start running through the images with the running animation. And now we're going to go into alarm 0, because remember over here in the spacebar event, we set alarm 0 equal to 15, and that will be when it stops. So when it stops, first thing we want to do is set running equal to false, because now it's no longer running. And we want to round it off to one of our frames, because if it's not rounded off, it could end up between, and whoever's playing the game will be mad because it'll be half Mario and half Sonic or something like that, and we don't want that to happen. So I'm typing y1 minus equals y1 mod sprite height divided by img. Here I'm using mod again, only this time it's sprite height divided by img. imgs equal to 3 because there's 3 different options. So this will basically take off whatever's left over when it's divided by that number. So if it should be rounded down to 0, if it's between 0 and whatever a third is, then it'll round down to 0 and go to our first frame, and the same logic can be applied wherever. Alright, now probably the most important part is the draw event, because you might have been confused up to this point, because like we're moving the entire sprite downwards and it gets constantly bumped up, and it would just look weird if we just did it like that. So we want to draw only the section that we want to show up. So we're going to say type of draw sprite part, which is a function now, draw only a small part of the sprite. So for the most part, just like the standard draw sprite, the first argument is the sprite index. So let's type in sprite index. Next argument is which subimage, so type image index, which I guess I could put 0, but I'll just put the image index, it's more correct. And now as part where the next 4 arguments basically define a square that of which part of the sprite we want to show. So what's the leftmost part we want to show? 0, because we want to show the whole horizontal part, just the vertical part we want to change. Next one is the top. Well, the top's going to be y1. That's the whole point of y1. So y1 is how far down we want to start drawing it, and then the sprite height and sprite width are going to be set. So the width is our sprite width. We want to show the entire sprite width, and the height is we want to show a third of it because we have 3 slots. So we're going to type down sprite height divided by img. This will make it work for no matter how many images you have. Since I have 3, typing in img here for 3 will work. And then moving on, xy, it's xy. Now I'm gonna need to draw another thing right here, but I don't feel like I can put in words the reason for it. So I'm gonna go to spacebar event, and I'm gonna just change this run speed value into a comment. And I'm gonna set equal to 2 to make it run through very slow, so that way I can show you what I'm trying to say. So I'm just going to go ahead and add it to the room. Let's see. That's annoying. Okay. Go ahead and add it to the room and then play the game. So, if I press spacebar, it'll run through it for 1 moment. And go back. I forgot to change the amount of time that the alarm went for, so it still only goes for half a second, but I wanted to make it go for longer just to prove a point, so I'll make it 180. Now test it again. Now let's try it again. So see, it's running very slowly, and now there. That's the thing I wanted to show you. So it will go through the whole thing, and then it'll just after Mega Man it'll just stop because the sprite is still moving, and it's reached the end of the sprite, and it hasn't moved back yet because it hasn't reached the end of the sprite yet. So we want to draw something else below that, so that there would be an end right there. So the way we're going to do that is I'm going to basically copy this entire code, paste it, and then instead of y1, I'm typing down y1 plus sprite height right there. That way it'll show me everything, and when when the point comes to reach the bottom of the sprite, it'll draw this section at the bottom of it. And then if we press play now, and we press spacebar, you can see that, no, you can't see. That's rather annoying. Alright, I apologize. It's actually supposed to be minus sprite height, not plus sprite height. That's my bad. Try this one more time and it'll work this time, I promise. Now when I press spacebar, it runs through them all smoothly until it's ready to stop, in which case it'll round off. And there we go. So now, let me just change our spacebar event back to normal. Alarms at 15, and I'll take away this comment. All good. Now this is just slot 1. I'm going to create a new object, call it obj slot 2, make its parent slot 1, because like I said earlier, the code is all in there. All the important code is in there. Then we're going to grab spacebar, because this is the only thing that's going to be different for each slot. So I'm going to create the spacebar event again. And I'm going to paste the code I just got, and I'm going to change the amount of time this one runs for. So this one runs for a different amount of time. And now I'll just go ahead and duplicate this. So it's obj slot 3, and then I'll move it from 30 up to 45, and that one will run a little bit longer even still. So now I'm going to go ahead and add them all to the room. So slot 2 goes here. Oh, I don't have a sprite. I'll give him a sprite in a second. Slot 3 goes there. Oh, I'll give him a sprite. No worries. Sprite. And sprite. Now let's try this again. Alright, here we go. Now it should be working out fine. So I press spacebar. Now it stops first, second, third, and it's randomized. They didn't all run at the same speed. They ran at different speeds, so therefore something different came out. And if I press again, it'll be randomized and they come out all the same, but trust me, it's randomized. So that's all for this tutorial. This is how to make a slot machine. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please rate, comment, and subscribe. It'll help my channel out. I have a website that shows all my tutorials. If you want to check that out, it's synforge.co. Hope you found this tutorial helpful, and we'll see you guys in the next one.